So moving on to the next love language, which is words of affirmation. We have Brother Garikai and Sister Linus Manyaga. Over to
Thank you, Brother Stan and Sister Tendai. Speaking after, this just ended presentation, which was spoken more from the heart rather than, a written presentation. It's going to be a tough one on this one. And unfortunately, the one who is so fluent and eloquent on this love language, unfortunately, the quality time has been on the book. So I would have loved for her to present this one. But as you have seen, she's just joining us here right now. So I know since she's a language, it comes very natural to her. So I hope she will then chip in to substantiate what I'm going to be reading. Because for me, admittedly, it's not one of those, it's not one of my languages. Actually, I've discovered that for Sister Lioness, I think she speaks 4 of those languages very fluently. I think she's like Sister Tendai. For me, I think one language is primarily for me here. So I'm going to try to present, but I was hoping that she would do it because it comes naturally to her. So anyway, here goes. For me, obviously, the 5th love language is that of words of affirmation. And basically, this is a language which expresses love through, as it is, complimentary and positive words, that build up your partner. And I think this is sort of like a cross-cutting issue, which has been coming out in some of the presentations here. And I think the importance at this stage is to realize that the words, they are not just words, but these are words that are complementary. These words that are positive and with the express purpose of building up your partner. I just thought probably before I delve into the presentations of what I captured, later on when I was just thinking about the presentation, I discovered that I may need for a few minutes just to get into, I think, where this love language borrows from. And unfortunately for some, I know there are some more we do not go to church with, but for some of us, it's indispensable to make reference to the Bible. So to start with, before I then go into the other issues, I just wanted to give a brief biblical background on why words are so important, and especially words of affirmation in marriage. We know marriage has been designed by God himself for his own purposes. So at this stage, I'm just going to mention, not necessarily open the verses, but if you read Proverbs chapter 18, verse 21, which talks about death and life being, found in the power of the tongue, to say that the tongue and its speech abilities, in it there lies the death and life. And in our case and context, that would mean the death and life even of our marriages or our partners. And so these are in the tongue. The tongue is that power to make alive or to kill, if I may be that graphic. So this is the first verse which I may make reference to. And then I may also make reference to Romans chapter 4, verse 17, which basically talks about how, we have got a God and we are made in his image. He calls things that are not as though they are. So in this regard, words have got the power to make, to complement, to build up, a partner. And now we have that power within ourselves. And what it simply means is that with this power that we have, we can create the things that we want. I was actually thinking when I was reading that part to say, if your partner were to be the person that you say about them every time, what type of partner would that be? For example, the way we describe our partner, whether we are complimenting or complaining about them, if at this very instant your partner was to be exactly the person that you say they are, what type of partner would you have? So we are saying with your words, you have the ability to create the type of partner, because you can call things that are not as though they are by just complimenting and expressing words of affirmation and of building up your partner. And finally, I think I would like to, this one I might want to read it, Philippians chapter 4, verse 8. I did not manage to send my revised, but I just thought I would mention it. It says, whatever things are true, whatever things are noble, whatever things are just, whatever things are pure, whatever things are lovely, whatever things are of good report, if there is any virtue and if there be any praiseworthiness, meditate upon these things. So I think what it simply means is that you are drawing only on the positive. It's focusing on the positive. There are a lot of, well, not a lot, there are some things that may be negative, obviously, in our partners. But I think here the verse is simply saying the focus should be on the positive things always, and that we should meditate upon these things. So I just wanted to give this brief background in terms of why words of affirmation are very critical and important. And then briefly, I'm just going to look at our slide to say, so verbal compliments, they don't have to be complicated. The shortest and simplest phrases can be most effective. And here we have got a sample of some of the, but obviously these have to be tailor-made to the situation, your partner. There are a lot of factors that need to be considered. It's not just copying and pasting the textbook phrases, but here are just guidelines to say that dress looks incredible on you. You always make me laugh. You know, I love your hair today. That's it is sharp. I like your. No, actually, I can't complain. I'm the one who made that hairstyle. So I like your honesty. I was thinking. So these are, I think, the examples, I think, are simply trying to guide us in terms of the words that we can use daily, or you know, in our marriage life to complement our partners. Yeah, obviously, and I love you. And yes, my wife speaks that language like she's fluent. She's not only fluent, she's also eloquent in that. And obviously, as the book says, the problem is that she does it to me thinking that because, so I told her one day, you know, I know you. She never tires of telling me. So I know that is what she hears, and I'm supposed to do it. So I think this is the starting point, especially this book. It has put a lot of things in context for me to say this is what she needs. So, and then if we were to move on to our next slide, to say, on the other hand, negative or insulting comments can hurt your partner, and this could take them longer. On this one, I'd said that the problem with negative words is, even if they are fewer than the positive, but their impacts are felt, or they are more devastating. So you'll find that if you say once a negative word, this will be remembered longer, and you know, and the effect on your partner will be more. So these are the words that need really to be guarded against. The one thing which I've tried, I've not always succeeded, is to, you know, I try to think about the words that I'm going to say before I say them. I always say that, you know, the mouth being in front of the, you know, doesn't mean that you have to lead with your mouth, but rather things have to be processed at the back there first before they come out. But it's not, sometimes it's a struggle. But to be honest, I am very conscious about this, because you are aware of how the words, once they are let out, they are very difficult to take back. So it is very important to limit and cut down as much as possible on the negative words. And then try not to generalize, you know, because like what is given here, you always embarrass me. This may be an incident, one incident, but then when you say it, it's like this is a constant thing that you are doing. So I think there's need to also avoid this. Sometimes we are more thoughtful with the words we give to strangers than with our spouse. And obviously, there's this, we need to redefine our relations with us, strangers vis-a-vis our spouses whom we live with, because the partner, the strangers that we are careful with, they will just be a fleeting moment in our lives, but our partners are ones we stay with completely. I will leave my wife to try and say anything that she feels, to add on to this, since this is her language.
Hi everyone. My apologies to Pastor and everyone who's leading for being late. I only have one thing because I believe time constraints. Just want to tell my husband I love him. And with that, I give back to Tenda and Stan, I believe. Thank you.
Back to you, Stan, and then
Thank you, and thank you for demonstrating words of affirmation right there. We appreciate the presentation.